are about to embark on a journey. It will be an experience unlike anything you've seen before. On this journey, you will meet many people. Some will advise you, some will inform you, and some will entertain you. Every journey begins with a single step, and the time for that first step is now. Welcome to the all-new AZ Radio Network.
AZ Radio Network. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Hazy Radio Network, its affiliates, or sponsors. All shows are independently owned and broadcast for entertainment purposes only.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Radio Show with your host, Andrew Brewer, and his co-host, the not-so-psychic Hazy. Ladies and gentlemen, voted as one of the top 100 psychics in the world, your host, Andrew Brewer.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rock and Roll Psychic Radio. My name is Andrew Brewer. Hope everybody is having a happy week. Happy March. We have kind of an interesting show tonight. I mean, I always think they're always interesting, but, that's just me. But I was watching TV. Well, actually, I was watching YouTube. I was watching a YouTube of a television show. And for a lot of you know that reincarnation, past lives are a passion of mine. It's a big part of my professional career, It's a big part of the way in which I look at everything. So I'm watching this TV show, and a lot of people had kept telling me about this TV show, Ghost Inside My Child. When it first came out a couple of years ago, everybody goes, "Oh, you got to watch this TV show. You need to do a TV show like this." So I finally got around to going on YouTube, and I watched the very first episode. I thought it was really well done. I appreciated the way it was done. And then I watched one other episode. And in this episode, there were again, two children. The last one that came on was this beautiful young actress, and she was having memories, and she started connecting the dots to a past life as another beautiful young actress who had been in Hollywood in the 1920s. And her name was Lucille Ricksen. Now, I never heard of Lucille Ricksen. I've, kind of spent a lot of time trying to dig into the past life vault. So, but when I was watching this show, I thought, I totally see this. To me, it just, I have this thing I say, kind of clangs my bell. To me, when I watched this show, I felt, and the young woman's name is Amy Pierce. When I watched it, I go, oh, yeah, this totally resonates. Well, the interesting part about that, there's a lot of interesting components to this. We have Amy as our guest tonight. We also have Amy's mother, Theresa. And Theresa, which I think is just fabulous, is a professional psychic, which I didn't realize when I was watching the YouTube clip of the TV show. So I want to, and of course, before we bring on Amy and Theresa, I want to say hello once again to the lovely and vivacious Zita Oz. Zita, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Andy. Thank you. Good evening to you.
But I'm going to do this a little differently. Usually, kind of, I do my little intros, but this time I want to let our guests have a chance to really give their story. This is one of the very rare times when I'm actually having guests on that I haven't talked to before, because I've wanted to, once I saw this TV show, I made kind of an effort, to use my whatever to connect with them, because I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to get a sense of what that process was like for me as a young man. I had, those the little boys that remember being soldiers when they're 2. I was one of those. But this was 1957, and there wasn't much to do about it. So rather than have me ramble forever, I want to welcome our guests this evening, Amy and Theresa Pierce. Good evening. How are you? And thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having us. Oh, we're fine. We're in Minnesota, and we're kind of cold.
Well, Zita's also in Minnesota, so she's probably kind of cold as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at the snow starting to come in.
Yeah. Actually, we don't have much snow this year, so it's kind of going to be nice to get some. Yeah, but it's been cold.
It's just been cold. Yeah.
This is a lot to kind of deal with for both of you. To be outed, on television, and I'm 60 years old, so I can talk about these things, and I'm old and cantankerous. Nobody really bothers me. But to be a teenager and dealing with the things in which teenage girls deal with anyway, this has to be kind of a lot for people to go, oh my gosh, you were an actress, and oh, that's just weird. And what is that like for you, kind of in your day-to-day world, having this recognition and all this attention because of your past life? And I'm going to go on the record. I believe it's true. I really do think the interrelationship between you two is super strong to me. But Amy, what's that like for you?
It's been this way for so long that I can't really tell the difference between not living and being open with my past life. My mom let me accept it when I was little, and we just accepted it into our household, and she let me embrace like silent movies and dressing up like silent stars, and I was really accepted like in my house. Like we didn't really like talk about it, but like I was allowed to do it. So I can't really tell. I don't really know what it feels like not being like that. So it's normal to me it wouldn't be normal if I didn't talk about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like kids at school don't really say anything. I think because I'm confident about it and I own it, they can't really say anything because it's not going to be as fun to make fun of me if I'm not proud of it. So I don't really.
I mean, that's a truism across the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having that sense of self-confidence. I mean, the thing that also kind of jumps out to me when I watched you, you know, for a teenage girl to be dealing with this and go to Los Angeles and do all that, you know, in and of itself, that's a lot. You have a very strong presence. I mean, when I watch you, I mean, you have a very magnetic kind of quality. You could see, and I'm curious to get your mother's intake with this, but to me, you can just see that this actress thing is you. I mean, you're a very beautiful young woman. You could be a model. I mean, there's a certain kind of vibe that you have. And so, you know, by owning that, nobody's really going to mess with you because it does take the fun out of it to torment you if you're not going to be happy about it. Mm-hmm. I want to kind of shift gears here, but I want to bring your mother on. And Theresa, for you, trying to be protective of your daughter and at the same time being supportive of her, what was this process like for you, you know, as she went through the things that she went through, you know, having a fascination with, you know, actors from the 1920s and watching silent movies? What was that process like for you and your husband?
Well, you know, actually, I'm gonna kind of shift it and say that it was awesome. We've always been really open about things, and it was a wonderful experience watching her blossom. And as far as me being worried about her, like coming out of the closet as Lucille, is that what you mean? You got to remember also we live in the 6th district of Minnesota, which is probably the most conservative district in the state of Minnesota. And so that I was a little worried about being on the show and in that sense. And you know, it really wasn't. There's a few people that made comments, and we did get a few things, but basically overall, it was a really positive experience. And actually, by her being on the show, it kind of helped her. It helped her come out of her shell a little bit more and embrace Lucille, and she's able to continue on now in other things because she got that out of the way. Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we all have those like secrets, or we all have things, and by embracing it, and you know, like they say, the truth shall set you free. That's kind of what happened with her, and since this whole process of actually being on the TV show and kind of outing herself, she was a little worried about going back to school after the summer, and it was just really good. She had some very positive feedback from the other kids.
Yeah, I mean that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it hasn't always been good. I think because I'm her mother, and I'm older. Amy's the youngest of 5 children, and I think by the time that she came along, and then she was a little quirky and a little strange, and I mean that in a sincere way. But you have to remember she was 3 and 4 years old and dressing up in evening gowns and wanting to watch silent movies and doing hair and makeup on herself when she was just really young. So it was a little odd.
You know, I had a similar experience, only mine was with being a soldier. And I had the images, the memories of it. And so I have pictures of me from like kindergarten where I've actually drawn on parts of my uniform. I would dress up as a soldier. I wanted to go to West Point. In the backs of like Good Housekeeping and Red Book and all those magazines back in the 60s when they would have ads for military schools, I thought that that's what little boys did. They went to military school. So I had that kind of European, you know, this is what you did. You went to military school when you were 7. Those things were with me as a 2 and 3 year old. And And I think